guys, Trisha Turner here. It is Tuesday afternoon. This is Anything But Average, Achieving Success in Life. This is a super cool story today, and I want to kind of give you a little bit of backstory before I introduce our guest for today. So this podcast is about success stories. Everybody's got a success story or more than one success story. And this originated a couple of years ago when the world started becoming so dark and there was so much negativity in the world. I was like, man, we got to start bringing some positivity into the world. And so I committed every Tuesday at 12 o'clock to doing Anything But Average and interviewing people that have success stories and letting them share their stories. And then especially when the pandemic hit, we really went in and I committed 1 month to doing one every single day to start people's days. But this is October and we're almost at the end of October, and October is Breast Cancer Awareness Month. And so I want to bring Mary Watts on today because she made a post on Facebook, and I believe it was yesterday, and it was one of the most vulnerable posts I've ever seen. And she was just completely honest and transparent. And it worked out crazy because the guest I had scheduled for today, we needed to reschedule. And I was like, oh my gosh, I saw your post and I thought, I have to reach out to you because this is the last Tuesday of October. It's Breast Cancer Month and we need to share a story. Welcome, Mary Watts.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it. You know, I believe in being vulnerable. I believe in transparency. I think that it can be a roadmap for others. You know, none of us have a perfect life and all of us have our own struggles that we deal with. And I think the more that we share and talk about it, the more that we can help other people know that they can make it through those tough times.
Oh my gosh, yeah. So for you guys don't know Mary, will you kind of share a little bit about your backstory? Like, what do you do for a living, where you are, and then we'll lead into the story that we're going to talk about today.
Absolutely. I started my real estate career after a 10-year career in oil and gas. I started with Keller Williams. I have now moved over to EXP. I started my team in 2015, and we have just continued to grow and grow over the years. I love helping people in the community. I am a very service-driven professional, want to really make an impact in the community, and quickly found out in real estate how much we're able to do that and how much we're able to help families and real people, you know, move, find a home, find the right schools for their kids. So it's much more than a business and career for me. It's very personal.
It's super personal.
Yep.
And Mary, you guys, if y'all don't know, Mary has been very successful in real estate and has continued to be very successful. However, it was in 2019, I believe you said, when she got this devastating news that she had breast cancer and her whole life kind of got turned upside down. So can you kind of walk us through, like, did you have symptoms? Did you know, or was that just a regular checkup?
Absolutely. So first off, because I think that this is important for people who have a business and get knocked down, cancer is going to knock you down. I had just won a Houston Business Journal award. Our team had produced 34 million. We were on the trajectory just to explode. And in 2019, in July, I got diagnosed with breast cancer. I went to just a standard mammogram, you know, trying to keep myself healthy, and was shocked to find out that I did have breast cancer. There were no signs or symptoms. I would not have been able to determine that I had it without that mammogram. It looked like a lot of little white dots in the imaging. But that mammogram saved my life. My doctor said if I had waited just a full year, that the story would have been much different. So I got very lucky.
Okay, I want to stop you right there if we could.
Yes.
So I know, and they keep like changing the medical guidelines. So are you pretty religious with getting your checkups every year, or were you one that just does it kind of willy-nilly?
So I'm both, you know, because I'm such a busy professional. I understand how difficult it is to make time for ourselves. You know, we have families, we have people that we care about. And I don't know about you, but I'm constantly putting those needs in front of my own. So I got in there because my family does have a history, and I knew that I needed to be on top of this. Now, was I right on time? No, I wasn't. I was a few years late. So I am a little disappointed in myself about that. Now that I'm educated about it, I understand how important. So I have like a sister who, you know, is just turning 40, and just family. And I'm like, just go do it.
Yeah.
Just go do it.
Right.
Yeah.
So I know, I think even some of their guidelines now, that some of them say you don't even have to do it annually, but I've heard so many breast cancer stories where I'm like, I think you're crazy if you don't do it annually.
I think so too. It is such an easy procedure. It's in and out, and it can save your life. So I highly recommend it, of course.
So you get diagnosed in July. What happens
Yep.
to your world?
So my world just was absolutely rocked. When you hear the cancer word, it's terrifying. It truly is. I was a single mother with a home and a business. Like I said, we had just won that award. We were just on the trajectory for huge success. And I had to put everything on hold, to concentrate on my family, to concentrate on my health. In September, I had a double mastectomy. And I thought it was over. And I took a very radical approach to my treatment because mine was found on the right side, but I was like, take it all.
I don't blame you.
I did. I'm like, hey, excuse me, sorry if I offend anybody, but boobs are overrated.
Yes, they are. And you can replace them.
You can replace them. So I was very, very aggressive with my treatment plan. My doctors and I decided that, I'm a single mom. I needed to have this done and move on with my life. So in 2020, I went to a dermatologist and had a little tiny spot on the same right side checked out, which ended up being Paget's disease.
What is
So
that?
isn't that interesting?
Yes.
It's a form of breast cancer. So what happened to me is when they did the needle biopsy, they pushed that needle into my skin, they pulled the cancer cells, and they moved them to healthy skin. So I ended up back into, I know. So ladies, ask questions.
Wow.
You're in a whirlwind at that point, and you're just looking at the doctor thinking, I can't even think straight. You just tell me what to do. But ask questions, as hard as it is. And if you are a single person, bring somebody with you that can think straight and ask those questions. I mean, I'll go with you. Tell me.
So when you had your mastectomy done, that was in September. When did they discover this other thing?
That happened. They discovered that the beginning of 2021, and I just had my second surgery in July. I know it has been a heck of a time these last 3 years, from 2019 to 2020, which we all, struggled with COVID. I mean, it was crazy. And then
So
2021.
during that whole time, like, were you incapable of working? What does that look like?
Oh, no, not at all. I actually went right back to work right after I had my first surgery, tubes hanging from my sides. I'm a single mama, I have a beautiful home, and I had not intended to allow this to take me down. I intended to stand up and to fight. And that's what I did. I fought. 3 weeks after my double mastectomy, I was the flagship sponsor at the Katie Cares Gala. So, I mean, I had made these commitments before I got diagnosed, and really in a way to put the money on myself, that I believed in myself and I believed in the God that I served, that I was going to continue with these commitments. And I'm so happy that I did. I'm so happy that I didn't stop moving forward.
So did you have to do chemo, radiation, anything during this time?
No, for me,
Okay.
it was all surgery. Both times were surgery. And I can't tell you how grateful I am for that. I know
Yes.
that so many people do have to go through that. I've got a dear friend right now that's going through that. And it's difficult. Just the diagnosis is difficult. Everything that comes after it is just equally as difficult.
So is it normal once you have like your first surgery for it to then move to a different spot?
No, actually very, very abnormal.
Okay.
I hit the lottery on that one. I sure did.
It's adorable.
I know, right?
Yes. Like,
I'm
I
not
hear,
normal.
it's like horror stories because you think that you're through with it and then something else happens. So then what does that look like moving forward? Is there any worries about it recurring? What does that look like?
Right now they're deeming me cancer free. They said, go about, move on and live your life. And that's what I intend on doing. I don't think any of us are guaranteed another day. So let's make the most of this one while we're here. So I don't worry. I don't sit around and worry about another diagnosis. I'm getting on with life.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I love that. And so since you went through breast cancer and now you're a breast cancer survivor, has that changed the way you look at breast cancer and supporting breast cancer? And tell me about that a little bit.
Absolutely. You can't understand the emotional impact that it has on you until you've traveled that road or a road similar to that. So it does give you a great compassion for anybody else that is going through it. And it's amazing when something like that happens in our life that is a struggle, how much when we're looking around in our normal lives, you notice it more.
Oh,
You
yeah.
become aware of it around you, and it allows you an opportunity to pour into those people that are going through that, to hopefully help them get through it without any of the bad stuff that happens. It's life. We go through something. It's hard to stay positive. It's hard to stay focused. So if I can help anybody stay positive and focused through that diagnosis, I'm looking for an opportunity.
I love that. I know you're very faith-based and I am too. And sometimes I look at other people and their lives and I don't judge and I'm not ever envious, but some people do seem to have like a much easier time of getting to high levels of success.
Mhm.
I am not one of those. I've had to work my butt off and I know you're the same. And
I am.
so when you look at like where you've come, because you have quite a story too, you didn't come from this great upbringing and then this great marriage. And I mean, you've had to do things all on your own. Kind of walk us through a little bit of that, because when you look at these adversities, like
Mhm.
for me, when I hear your story, I'm thinking that you're a warrior inside. And I'm like, oh no, not today. This is not taking me down. Kind of tell
Exactly.
everybody, walk them through your success in real estate, because I think that helps define how you just beat the odds of cancer.
Absolutely. And it did, because I walked into it strong with great perseverance. When I was young, I had a family and my mother got very, very sick and she ended up having brain surgery, which altered who she was. She became abusive within the home, and I left home very, very early, about 17 years old. So you're right. I didn't have that storybook, childhood or storybook beginning. However, I always had something inside of me that was very, very ambitious and very competitive. So I started my career in oil and gas and I loved it. I rose to the top. I was in management without a degree, just putting my head down and working harder than anybody else.
Yep.
When I moved into real estate, I took that same perseverance and dedication, and not allowing the odds stacked against me to prevent me from moving forward. I believe everybody's capable.
Me
I don't
too.
care what your story is. Rise up and prove them wrong. That's what that, yes. And that's what I did. And I'm very proud of that. And I hope that will inspire other young people who don't have that storybook, start in life to get up and work hard.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
does.
so when you look at that, you were a single mom too.
I
So you
was.
were raising your kids. And
I
in
was.
real estate, so many people get into real estate and the failure rate in real estate is between 87 and 91%. So
Yep.
like we're in the very elite group that actually make it, and we've been doing this forever. So
Right.
I know I was a single mom too, raising kids on my own. So it's a different world when you're working 24/7, you're raising your kids, you're providing, and you got to make it happen, period. Walk us through that mindset. What has been like some of your driving forces? What do you think some of your characteristics that have been like what has helped you to excel?
Absolutely. I believe a long time ago, I had a vision for success, and I believe that God gave me that vision. And for what it's worth, that's my story.
I love
And,
it.
and I believed it. And I had two children that would not have a good financial future unless I created it for them. And nobody was going to create it for me. So I had to get out there and figure out a way to change the trajectory of their lives.
Yeah.
So that why, we hear in this business, find your why. What motivates you? What drives you? First off, God
Yep.
planting that seed in my heart. drives me. And then looking at these kids and changing their lives. I got married in 2020. I met an absolutely wonderful man. His name is Daniel Todd. So now we have 4 children that we're making their lives better, and then their children's lives better. What we do in this lifetime matters, and there's an impact and ripple effect. So we want those things to be good things.
We do. And, I think so many people feel like it's too late. Like, I'm never going to get there. It's never too late.
Oh, ever. I could have said that. I could have easily said that.
Yeah.
I could say it right now. I could have let cancer take me down, and it could have been too hard, but I refuse to live my life that way. I'm in the fight. I'm a fighter.
I am too. And I think that and I thought about this even this morning, and I don't even know why, but it came to me this morning. It was like, because sometimes you question, like, okay, why am I going through these struggles? Why am I going through these challenges? Why? I mean, why is this like another thing hard that I have to go through? And I believe that God uses people that are strong to go through things like that. So they'll be an example, and they'll lead others, and they'll help others like you're doing right now.
Right. I truly believe that there is good that you can pull out of every experience in life, whether it's bad or good or indifferent. So when I got the cancer diagnosis, I had been through enough prior to that to understand that I would get good out of this.
That's
so
right.
Instead of looking for the bad, which I think is our human nature to do, and we have to retrain ourselves to, yes, this situation sucks. I don't want to be in it. But what good am I going to get out of it? And how am I going to grow as a person? How am I going to be a better person, help people through this? I think that's very important.
Did it change the way you look at, like, again, your kids are like super important to you. And so there had to come a time during some of this where you thought, I got to be around for my kids. I got to make this happen. Did it change the way you prioritize things?
I'm constantly reassessing where I'm putting my time. You're a businesswoman. You understand there's nothing more valuable than time. It's important to me. So having that balance is very, very important. It was before the cancer, and it's even more important after the cancer. But as you know, real estate is a 24/7 business. It really is. And I owe it to my clients to be there for them in times when there's trouble, they're concerned, and that may be 8:00 on Saturday night, but the balance to that is the fact that there are times after school when I'm able to be here with my children, and a lot of parents aren't. So I try to remind them, you know how kids are.
Oh,
they
yeah.
want all of you, but I'm like, Mama got to pay the bills too.
I want to touch on something that I was in our sales meeting yesterday, and I was talking to my team about EXP. And I said, and it's so funny that I'm now talking to you about this today, because this wasn't even in my mindset yesterday. But yesterday I was using an example to them. I was like, I usually don't talk about this very much, but EXP is like the best platform ever to build a real estate business, because it can provide you so many different forms of income. Mm-hmm. And I said to my agents yesterday, I said, God forbid I ever get sick or something and get taken out of the game for 6 months. I at least will have passive income coming in while I'm taking care of my family. I at least have that. How did that play into this?
Well, wow. That's such a great question, because I don't know, you probably don't know this, but I jumped over to EXP about 1 month before my double mastectomy.
I did not know that.
I did not want to allow this diagnosis to stop me from forward progress. So I have got a dear friend, Monica Foster, she's fabulous. And, she has just poured into me over the years. And when she made that jump, I really started to think, because I respect her as a businesswoman.
Yep.
So I made the jump, and every single year I've gotten my full $16,000 back, because I produce enough. I've iconed every year that I've been with EXP. My stocks, without even trying, because girl, I had cancer. I didn't have time I had time to tread water.
Yeah, I bet.
Keep things moving. My stocks are, gosh, we must have 80,000 in stocks without even
doing anything.
without
Yeah.
even doing anything. And I joined in September of 2019.
Yeah.
So building that future, having, you know, that passive income and having a plan for my retirement. I don't know
Yeah.
about you, but eventually I'm not going to be able to work, and we have to have a plan for that. And I have never seen another brokerage that has a retirement plan like EXP does. It's amazing.
Well, if you think about it like this, like I was explaining to them yesterday, it's like, okay, we can get out there and sell 50 to 100 homes a year. But you know what? At the end of the day, you got to get up and do it again,
Yeah,
because the minute that transaction's over, you're unemployed again. So
that's
every
right.
time it's just a transaction, you're just heading for that paycheck. Whereas, and you know, my coach, he said this yesterday, and it's what kind of made me talk about it with my team. He's like, here's what you need to think about. You need to look at your living expenses. Like, what is your monthly living expenses? Is it
Right.
10,000? Is it $20,000 a month? What is it? And your goal should be, if you're smart, that I want to create enough passive income to where
Yep.
I'm covering those expenses. And when you do, then you're considered wealthy. And like I was telling them yesterday,
Yep.
you know, old school mentality is I'll go buy a bunch of rental properties and I'm going to mortgage all these rental properties, and I may make $200 or $300 a month per property. And in, you know, 10, 20, 30 years, I'm going to have a good income. Why do you want to do that when we can do it through real estate like we're doing by building this company and collaborating together?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Shift the focus.
It's a total change in mindset. It's a total change in the way that we're building our business,
Yep.
and we're building it for long term, not short term. Like you said, once we close, we're unemployed again. And
Yeah.
that's, I think, what a lot of people don't understand is we're unemployed and looking for our next job.
Yep. Always. We're
Yes.
always seeking. It's like there's no level of security and comfort because you're always looking at the next thing. And which
Right.
is, when you think about it, it's like it's hard.
Yeah, it is. So tell me this, Nacy. Now I'm going to ask you a question.
Go for it.
Don't you love the collaboration? So I have never seen a group of high producers. I mean, you're a top producer. I'm a top producer.
Yep.
Monica's a top producer.
Yep.
You know, we are
Everyone.
surrounded by these amazing professionals that are willing to pour into others.
Yep.
And I've never quite seen the level of help provided to newer agents and to agents coming within the collaboration group. There's no better training than
No.
that. I recently became a mentor, hoping to help some newer agents out. You know, like I told you, I'm very service driven. I want to
Yeah.
help people. I have my first mentee. Her name is Lucy Parnell. I worked with her. I was her boss in oil and gas.
Oh my gosh.
She's
Small
been
world.
watching. She's been watching. She is also a single mother and extremely ambitious. And she made her jump into real estate. And I'll tell you, she is a go-getter, and I can't wait to see what she's going to do. So, you know, she's brand new. And I was brand new once, and I know what that looks like.
Oh,
And
yeah.
I am going to save her years.
You know what? When I look at, like, so I've been with EXP 3 years now, and when I look at everything, you know, coming from my own brokerage, I worked at every big box company out there. And when you were at the, and this is going to sound terrible, and I don't mean it to sound terrible, but even when I was at the big box companies and you looked at like what was a top producer, and maybe a top producer did 24 transactions a year, and in those brokerages, you know, the big box ones, there may be 300 or 400 people there, but there's only like 20 people that are selling like 20 to 30 homes a year, and they're called top producers, and that's fine. I get it. In our group, as you know, like that's expected. Like if you're a top producer when you're doing 50, 100, 200, or your team's doing a 500, 1,000 transactions, and it's so cool because we're not envious of each other. We inspire each other. It's like when I go into the group and it's like they're doing 500 transactions, I'm like, oh, I come back here and I'm like, we're doing 500 transactions. So it's like it's that healthy stuff, you know?
It is. It's the healthy stuff, and it's just the camaraderie is like nothing I've ever seen before. So, you know, I'm not going anywhere, y'all.
Me neither. And I truly believe, and even this, my coach said, he's like, when you truly believe in your heart that what you're doing is what you're supposed to be doing, and that is the best place for everybody that you're talking to, then it isn't salesy at all. It's passion. And that's what we talk about. And I think it's the coolest thing because it's brought so many of us together under the same platform, under the same roof, where we can do this. Like we probably wouldn't even be doing this if we weren't under EXP, because I pay attention to what you're doing because we're together.
Yeah, I completely agree. I completely agree. It's partnered all of us together and made us stronger. You know, the more top producers. Yeah, exactly. So it's
what does the future of Mary Watts look like? What's the plan?
So this has been a great year, regardless of cancer. We have rallied. I kept it pretty private because I did not want this business to be impacted by my surgery. So we just carried on. Next year, we're looking at a record year. Our goal is 50 million. In 2019, when I got the Houston Business Journal Award, my goal was 50 million the next year. And I got, and understandably, with everything that happened, I wasn't able to achieve that.
Yes.
But I am ready to kick the door down and accomplish that goal.
I believe that 2022 is going to be an amazing year. When the pandemic hit in 2020, we were like, okay, this is really weird. And then as the year went on, we were like, okay, well, next year's going to be better. But this year's been just as weird. And we've had tragedy all year long too. So I'm like, I think next year is going to be our year. I think it's going to be
our year.
Everything. It is. It's our year. You're cancer free. We're going to be rolling. People are going to be in homes that they need to be in. It's just going to be fine. We're going to be fine.
We are. The business is amazing. It really is. Wouldn't go back and change one thing.
Mm-hmm. We definitely can. Hey, Mary, if anyone wants to reach out to you and get information about you or breast cancer or anything, where can they find you?
Absolutely. So my phone number is 832-331-4209. You can always reach me by email at mary@marywattsrealty.com. Or, on any social media. I'm very easy to find on social media. I would love to have those conversations with anybody that needs help. And of course, if you've got a home to sell or you want to buy, I'm here for you as well.
Absolutely. I love it. I'm so happy that you're cancer free. And this is the greatest way to end our podcast on the Breast Cancer Awareness Month with you sharing your story. It's a fabulous story. Thank you so much, Mary.
Thank you. You have a great day.
You too. Bye, guys.
Bye.